Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namaami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Aho Niranjana Shantaha Bodhoham Prakrute Paraha Etavantamaham Kalam Mohenaiva Vidambitaha. You see, I am not complaining, I am just trying to understand the situation together with you. When it comes to understanding the importance of money, its importance in life, its value, so that appreciation we have. We don't lack that appreciation. We know the importance of money. Similarly, the understanding of the significance of pleasures, artha, kama, that also we appreciate very well. We have a very good comprehension of the importance of some of the comforts of life. Sometimes we overdo it also, really. Having money is important, but having a lot more of it is self-destructive. And having a few pleasures is important, having a few comforts, I don't want to call it pleasures really, having a few comforts is important, but overdoing it again is very dangerous. It makes us sick. For example, we come to the nature. You live in the nature, you live with the nature without disturbing the nature too much. Some disturbance is inevitable. The human footprint, it will be there. When a human being lives, wherever he leaves a footprint there. That is the human nature. And therefore, when you live with the nature, you live in the nature, you create minimum alteration, minimum disturbance. You try to adjust yourself with the nature. Be in sync with the nature as far as possible, so that you disturb the minimum. That should be the right way. That keeps us healthy also. But we again overdo it. But that is not the point I am trying to make. Nobody need to teach the importance of the pleasures or the comforts. Nobody need to teach. People get it rather well. Then comes the religion, what we call dharma. Dharma may have a different connotation, a word of connotation, but in the context it is dharmartha kama when you say dharma is the religion. So people, they love to believe. It comes easy. To believe comes easy. To think comes difficult. To believe comes easy. To believe and to follow. People are followers. They do not make a path for themselves. They want to follow. Making a path for yourself it requires a lot of original thinking. And so people, they don't have energy for all that. Also they are busy with artha kama. We are very busy with artha kama. Most of our life is gone in the pursuit of artha kama. So a lot of time is gone, a lot of energy is gone. And therefore very little energy and time is left, out of which instead of trying to find a path for ourselves, we prefer to follow. When there are followers, a leader emerges. That is the law of nature. I am saying how the nature works. And I am examining the situation together with you. I am not giving a moral lecture to you. whenever there are followers, a leader emerges. That is how the law operates. And therefore, a leader comes up from among the followers and the rest of them follow the leader. This is how the religions happen. And so cults, sects, religions, belief systems, they are all created this way. And so we have some of it in ourselves. We call it dharma. So we give a lot of importance to belief. It would be better to give importance to thinking rather than believing. But then that is how we are. We give a lot of importance to belief. But when it comes to understanding the importance of self-knowledge, we lag behind. That is the case that I am making. This thing called knowing oneself, it doesn't seem to be an urgent thing. It can wait. There are more important things. Like what? Like making money, like enjoying the comforts, like worshipping gods and goddesses. That is more urgent and more important, You have to get the grace of gods and goddesses, as much grace of as many gods and goddesses as you can. That is more, it's a priority, very important thing it is. And there is always a guru who encourages in that. And people are followers, people don't think. They prefer not to think. When it comes to money and comforts, they think a lot. But when it comes to dharma, they prefer not to think. They prefer to follow. Because following is always easy. It comes easy. And there is always a leader according to the law of nature. So this is how. Therefore, this blessed thing called knowing oneself, it doesn't seem to occupy our interest. It doesn't seem to attract our interest adequately. It doesn't seem to occupy any meaningful place in our life. That's why this is self-knowledge, moksha, freedom. Moksha is freedom. People are not interested in freedom. In fact, if you are free, you are likely to become insecure. There is insecurity in freedom. You just imagine a wild crane versus a parrot in a golden cage. Which looks more attractive? If you think of it, the wild crane is at the mercy of the elements. And it has to find a branch of tree and create a nest for itself. Whereas this parrot in the golden cage is very secure. And it seems to love its security. But the entire space belongs to the wild crane. What the parrot in the cage knows the beauty of that open space, it doesn't know. Therefore, people want to be parrots in a golden cage. They don't want to be like wild crane. So if you are willing to be like a wild crane in the open sky, where you cannot call anything your own, and where you do not know what will be your next move, there is that uncertainty about life. You are in the open sky, the entire universal space is yours. Do you love that?
Yeah.
In case if you love that, you are called a mumukshu. Many people don't like it. They want to remain in a golden cage, where some mineral water is supplied to the parrot. So people are like that. That's why it is very hard to find mumukshus, very hard to find thinking people, jijnasus, very hard to discover the importance of self-knowledge in one's life, very hard. But knowing oneself is the most important thing. Without knowing yourself, what all energy and time you spend on artha, kama and dharma finally comes a waste. It becomes a waste. Generally, I prefer to give an example. You get up morning at 4:35, it is all dark. Now you want to make a cup of coffee for yourself. Therefore, go to the coffee maker, put some water in it, put some powder in it, and then try to make coffee. You are in a hurry to do all that. You are anxious to do all that, but you do not care to put the light on. You may still be able to do some coffee because the place is familiar. You may still manage to brew some coffee and sit and drink, even without putting the light on, because the place is familiar to you. But in all probability, you will hit your head to a door, or you will step on some obstacle and fall face down. Any of those things can happen. Would you get the illustration? This is how we live. We are not eager to know the self because we have other more important things that attract our attention, like artha, kama and dharma. You have to take care of the religion, the rituals, the worships. They are very important. No, what about knowing the self? That can wait. Artha, kama are very important in this world. What about self-knowledge? That can wait, appa. That can wait. This is the kind of attitude we have for self-knowledge. We have to acknowledge, what we are. We have to acknowledge. It is not about self-condemnation or any such thing. You have to acknowledge. So the day the self-knowledge becomes the all-important thing, dharma, artha, kama, they can wait. In fact, they are meaningless in the absence of self-knowledge. It is like trying to make coffee without putting the light on. What a silly thing to do. The very first thing that you want to do is put the light on. And afterwards, it doesn't matter whether you make coffee or whether you make upma or something else. Whatever you want, you can do. But the first thing to do, right thing to do, is to put the light on. So understanding oneself is such an important thing. So I challenge. Somebody told me that your speech is provocative. I said, yes. I like it. I like to provoke. I like to shake up the people. I like to challenge the people. They are sitting in their well-entrenched conditioning in the name of Vedanta and religion and all that. I want to shake and challenge and walk out. I will not come in your way or in anybody's way for that matter. But if you give me a chance, I will shake you up, I tell you. You say that I am provocative? Yes, I am provocative. I provoke you to think. I point out the malice that has taken roots in our lives. If that is not acceptable, then go and sit on the tree. So this is how I provoke. Therefore, knowing about oneself, you see, what is your life? Thinking, speaking and doing. Mano, vak, kaya. You think, you speak and you do. Without knowing oneself, there is no basis for thinking or speaking or acting. No surprise, our thoughts bind us, our speech bothers us, makes us suffer, and our actions become a huge bondage, life after life after life. Why so? Why the thoughts, the speech and the actions which are supposed to be endowments bind us, make us suffer? because of lack of an appreciation of oneself. You should know yourself. Because without knowing yourself, there is no basis for thought, speech and action. So you have to understand that. Secondly, what is self-knowledge? So we hear the word self-knowledge all the time. Yesterday I was saying about self-inquiry, which is a better term than self-knowledge. But you can use, the word usage is not the issue, provided you understand it correctly. You see, suppose you get interested in physics, and so you open a book on physics, the basic preliminary text on physics, and find Newton's laws, 1, 2, 3, and you study them and understand them. Now, to study some physics, should you aim to become Einstein? Not necessary. You need not become Einstein. It's not necessary. You just learn a little physics, and if that enthuses you, you learn a little more. And you find your call in it, you will move forward. You may not become Einstein. You take one step after another step after another step. Is that not enjoyable, that you learn a little physics and learn a little more and then a little more? Is it not enjoyable? Should you necessarily become an Einstein? Not necessarily. You learn a little physics. I love physics. I learn a little of it and I feel good about it. I need not become an Einstein. The same rule works for self-knowledge. What happened is, self-knowledge means you will become Brahma. Like physics means you have to become Einstein. Self-knowledge means you have to become Brahma. Then immediately you will say, that can wait. Because becoming Brahma is not an urgent thing, you know. In fact, better you don't become Brahma immediately. Because the children are not yet settled, their marriages are not yet completed. In the meanwhile, suddenly if you become Brahma, then all problems will come. Everything will be messed up. Therefore, it can wait. Therefore, you pay lip sympathy to self-knowledge and pursue your samsara. This kind of a complacency enters into our life because this self-knowledge is presented as something very distant, very big, Brahma, and not very urgent, because other things are there. All of it is very misleading. Suppose you know a little of yourself, you are a wiser person, and that small bit of wisdom, that is called wisdom. When you know a lot of information, you don't call it wisdom, you can call it knowledge. Like Google is the greatest source of knowledge now. So in India we call it Google Guru. He is the Guru. He seems to know everything. Google, he or she, whatever. So you may not know a lot of information. You know a bit about yourself. A bit about yourself. Suppose about your body, how it is reacting, etc. You know a bit. That will give you a freedom. Suppose a certain food doesn't suit you, you know it. You are a happier person. The doctor cannot tell you as much as you can discover yourself. The doctor can only help in a particular way. Also, suppose you find for yourself that this food doesn't suit me. What a discovery it is. You are a better person. For example, I liked the tea. All my life I was drinking tea. Then slowly I was finding, I take tea and then there is some problem in this tummy and there is problem with the throat also. I was wondering, what is this problem in the tummy and tummy? Then one day it occurred to me, maybe this is something to do with the tea. Then I just looked into it, with the tea and without tea. Now I know oh my God, this tea doesn't suit me. Coffee is somewhat better, but tea seems to be more painful. It's causing more trouble to me. Therefore, now I know it. Once I know, you know what happened? I lost all interest in tea. Now I don't take tea anymore. I did not make effort to give up and all that. I just lost interest in it. Can a doctor recommend that? What diagnostic test will tell you that? So, this over-dependence on diagnostics and a physician without trying to know your body yourself, it cannot solve all the problems. It will solve some problems, but some problems will still remain. So you understand your body, you just watch your body and understand everything. You are a better person, and that is called self-knowledge. Are you getting my point? Brahma, it is not Brahma. You need not become Einstein all the time. So, you know a little about your body. Suppose one particular, you are doing exercise. A particular exercise doesn't suit you. Don't do it. Drop it. The trainer also will advise you. Yes, sir. You know that it doesn't suit you. That is how you feel. Drop it. Because nobody can know yourself better than you. And you have to know yourself, starting from the body and then the mind. This is how self-knowledge. Swami Vivekananda has given a small example about it. He said that it is like taking out one more layer of ignorance about yourself. There are multiple layers of ignorance about yourself. And pick up one layer of ignorance and remove it. You are a happier person for that. To that extent, you are a happier person. Still, you may be a samsari only. You are not a saintly person, or you are not a Brahma, whatever it may be. You are a happier person for that. Just for the fact of knowing a little about yourself, you are a better person. This is self-knowledge. So, that kind of self-knowledge, how it liberates a person, that is being described in these verses. That's why these verses are given the title, Joy of Self-Realization. That is the title of those verses. And in that, the poet says, Aham Bodha, that is what he says. You have to know yourself correctly. You see, are you a bunch of bones and flesh and blood? Are you just that much? Are you a cadaver? Certainly not. Certainly not. Cadaver is cadaver. There is something which animates the cadaver. The cadaver is moving around and it is speaking and it is doing things. The body is a cadaver and that is what it is doing. Means there is something inside the body which animates the cadaver, the corpse is moving around. This is what I told you, generous indifference. Yesterday, brother donkey. So Ramana Maharshi said, the corpse is moving around, look at it. And 4 people are carrying a corpse, taking it to the cremation ground. He said, look at that, 4 corpses carrying a corpse. How? Because these 4 corpses are animated by something inside. Whereas that animating element is missing in that other corpse. All are corpses only. And suppose this idea, it comes to your mind. Then you know what happens. This crying when somebody dies is out. Gatasu nagatasu scha nanushotanti pandita. You don't cry. There is nothing to cry. Somebody is no more, God bless. Generally, somebody who is no more, he must be going through some problems of physical ailment or whatever. So, and that came to an end, God bless. Mahatmas, they don't sit and cry. And those who sit and cry have no understanding of the life. They don't know what is self, they don't know what is life. They are ignorant. That is all we can say. So, you see, a little understanding can bring about such a tremendous freedom to you in life. That is self-knowledge. Therefore, this waiting for self-knowledge is something will happen in the future, and a very big thing will happen in the future. A cataclysmic thing will happen. I will become Brahma, as if something like that. Presently, I am a samsari only. And so, it is like there is this lottery, $49 million jackpot. I have seen while driving in Pennsylvania, $49 million lottery. Within 3 days it will be opened. And so you rush and purchase the ticket. And if you get the number, you will get $49 million. Suppose somebody is offering you $100, you don't have interest in it because you want $49 million. So that way you want Brahmanhood. So one day you will become Brahman. This kind of some kind of whatever you call it, some kind of fantasy has no value. You know, look at yourself now and know yourself. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, it is like that onion which has many layers. You peel off one layer and peel off another layer. Finally, there is nothing left. So similarly, when you know yourself a little more, finally, you as a person will not be left. You will be gone. You merge in the whole. That is the Brahmanhood. But in the meanwhile, you can ever peel off a layer of ignorance and become a better person in life for that. Therefore, you have to know yourself constantly. It is like studying physics. Know a little more physics and you are joyous about it. That makes you joyous. Similarly, know a little more about yourself. This is a way of looking at this thing called self-knowledge. I suggest you pay attention to this, the significance of self-knowledge, and the self-knowledge is something which is doable here and now. And the dividends are there immediate. The dividend that comes across to you by knowing yourself is not something which is in the future, it is immediate. So therefore, there is every reason to pay attention to knowing oneself. That's why we prefer, instead of saying self-knowledge will make you Brahman and all that, such very flowery and bombastic presentation. Instead of that, make it very practical and pragmatic, doable now and here. And the dividends happen instantly. There is the dividend instantly. Freedom is the dividend. The lightness, the burden of samsara, it goes off. A part of it is gone, and there is lightness in life. So that is the joy of self-realization. Aham bodha. You have to look at yourself correctly. You see, your attitude, your entire approach towards yourself has to change. You have to look at yourself. Even suddenly somebody wakes you up from deep sleep, you should not lose sight of your true nature. Even when a calamity hits us, we don't lose sight of our true nature. Come what may, we face things, but we don't lose sight of your true nature. Like the king, whatever may happen to him, he doesn't forget that he is the king. Come what may, he doesn't forget that he is the king. When a king is arrested, you know what he will say? I am the king. Then immediately they will not put him in shackles. They will offer him a seat and sit here. They will still arrest him, but make him sit in a sofa. The arrest of a king and the arrest of an ordinary person, there is a big difference between the two. So anyway, may not be the very beautiful example. So you are the king. You have to know yourself correctly. You see, in life, the vicissitudes of life will be there, but you should know yourself correctly. What am I or who am I? You have to know yourself correctly. You have to tell yourself 1,000 times if necessary that aham bodhaha. I am the awareness. Bodhaha is awareness. Don't say knowledge, because knowledge, the word is used in so many contexts. You will not be able to make it correctly understood. Bodhaha, awareness. Some people call it consciousness also, which is fine. You see, you have to understand how aham bodhaha. You see, the world in which you live, the immediate, which envelopes you and keeps you within itself like a net, all of that means the events, the people, the things that are around you, etc., the family, the friends, the real, near and dear, all that, finances, this and that, all of that, which you take as yourself, is absent in sleep, is just not there in sleep. The most interesting thing, which always makes me sit up and look at it, is an unhappy person sleeps, a happy person sleeps. The sleep doesn't distinguish between the two. They are both in bliss when they go into sleep. Bliss means it is happiness, but you cannot describe it. It is something. That's why we use the word bliss. The word happiness, you know it. It is, sometimes it comes, sometimes it goes. But the bliss of deep sleep, everybody knows it. You may be rich or you may be poor, but the bliss of deep sleep does not discriminate. Raja ho ya rank ho. The bliss of deep sleep is the same for both. So, and then you wake up. When you wake up, what happens first? You become aware. And then you become aware of the body here, that is the space. And now, that's the time. An unhappy man, not at all, a human being. I'm a human being. Then you are a student of Vedanta. Suppose you want to enter into a temple in India. You want to enter into a temple? Are you a Hindu? Tirupati. Yes. Not Tirupati. Jagannath, Puri. Are you a Hindu? Yes, enter. No, I am not a Hindu. Then you cannot enter. Tirupati, come to Tirupati. Are you a devotee of Venkateshwara? Yes, enter. No, I am not a devotee of Venkateshwara. You cannot enter. So, Guruvayur, our temples, they practice this way. So, they want you to define yourself. They want you to define. Once I went to a mosque, I wanted to see in Jerusalem. I wanted to see the mosque. They said, you cannot. I said, why can't I? It's a structure, I want to go inside and see. Are you a Muslim? No, I am not a Muslim. Then you cannot. I went to a church. They did not ask me, are you a Christian? No, they did not ask me. In fact, they understood that I am not a Christian, but they allowed it. There is something in it. Our people should learn these things. Any cathedral, you can walk in. You must have gone inside cathedrals. They are majestic structures and very quiet inside. I go and sit there and do some meditation. I need not be a Christian or a Catholic to go inside. Why our people don't learn certain basic things? So anyway, that is a digression. Therefore, you go to a Vedanta teacher and he teaches about caste, creed, race, religion. What kind of Vedanta it is? It is not. You must be a human being to become eligible to study Vedanta. Therefore, you tell yourself, I am a human being. I am a living being, even better. I am the being absolute. Aham Brahmasmi. Brahma is the being absolute. Therefore, between a human being and the being absolute, the gap is very less. The knowledge or the vision, the wisdom that makes you a human being is adequate to take you to the Brahmanhood. It is enough. You don't need any more extra wisdom. That is enough. That is the spiritual energy you require. I am a human being. Niranjanaha. That is the meaning of Niranjanaha. There is no spot. Whatever definition you give, that is a spot. I don't have any spot. Niranjanaha. That finishes the first line. Aho Niranjana Shantaha Bodhoham Prakrute Paraha. Then what will you do if that is what you are? What were you doing all these days? So much suffering in life and all that. So he says, Yatavantam aham kalam mohenaiva vidambitaha. All these years of life, I was cheated, I was deceived. By whom? Not by who. By what? So by what? By delusion. Moha. Moha is a delusion. You see, there is a thing called delusion. You have to correctly understand it. You should not confuse it with illusion. Illusion I will come. That will come. You see, without delusion and illusion, there is no Vedanta. Vedanta is all about delusion and illusion. Delusion is in you, illusion is outside. Jagat is illusion. What you have is delusion. Okay? That is the difference between the two. So, all these years I am deluded. What is a delusion? Let us examine this delusion. I am cheated. Vidambitaha means cheated by delusion. You see, I ask you, I am looking at a diamond. Okay? Now, which is superior? The diamond, because it is very costly, or the light of awareness in which I see it as diamond, which is superior? The light of awareness is superior, right? But I believe the diamond is superior. That is the delusion. You see, I could not explain it properly. I don't know. You have to catch some of these illustrations also. I have some gravel and a diamond in between. So somebody put me a few pieces of gravel and a diamond in between. In my hand he put me. I look at it. I see this is all gravel and that is diamond. This is all worthless, but that is having a lot of worth. Now, where is the real worth now? Is it not in the one who is looking at? Because if you give the same bunch to a blind man, he will not be able to make any distinction between the gravel and the diamond. He will not know. And therefore, he cannot say gravel is worthless, he cannot say diamond is valuable, he cannot say anything. Whereas if you put in my hand, I can say all this is gravel, worthless, and that is diamond, valuable, I say. So, where is the glory? In the light of knowledge. That is where the glory is. But people believe there is glory in the diamond. That is the delusion. The delusion is manifold. It comes in multiple forms. Like, for example, you see, please don't mind my approach towards gold. Women, especially coming from India, they will have some gold. The women from India will have a lot of it, whether the women from the Western countries will have a little of it. That is how I think it happens. I am not sure. Whatever I could make out, I told. So therefore, you see, what is gold? We believe. You see, the samsaris believe, the women believe, and the samsaris believe that gold is valuable. I can understand. But the Swamis believing that gold is valuable, where should you go? I should go and commit suicide. You know what is gold? Mata putra virodhaya, hiranyaya namo namaha. My prostrations unto gold, which creates a conflict between mother and her son. That is what gold is. Between father and son there is always conflict. That you don't need to explain that. But between mother and son, the conflict is a very unusual thing, most abhorrent thing. It should not be there, but it will be there, all because of gold. So, there was a middle-aged woman, she was telling me that her son has become very bad. And now, to begin with he was good, to begin with he was good, but now he is bad. Why? Who made him so bad? His wife. And now, Amma, what are you planning to do? What are you trying to say? I want to file a suit against him. I said, I am aghast. A mother filing a suit against the son? Yeah, he's a bad guy. No. Don't say that. For God's sake, don't say that. If a father says it, I don't mind. But a mother saying it is unimaginable. That is the Kali. Don't do that. For God's sake, don't do it. No, a lot of property is involved. You are deluded. You are delusional. There cannot be a worse delusion than that. People are deluded. I sincerely advise you, because you have come to an ashram, you have come to a Swami. You did not ask for my advice, but I am giving it, I am going out of my limit, and I am telling you, don't do that. For God's sake, don't do it. Afterwards, what happened, I don't know. I did not probe into it. But a mother feels that she has to file a lawsuit against her son because some property is involved. Not property, some gold is involved. Therefore, people are deluded. It is delusional. So, whole life is consumed by these delusions. See, there are many delusions in our life. Like, some of these are very fundamental and basic. People don't like to listen to these things because they want to be validated. They come to Vedanta class and I have to say things that they like to hear. Can you believe it? And when I say things that they don't like to hear, they will have a complaint. Now, if you complain, then what will happen? What will happen? Nothing will happen, I tell you. Nothing will happen. You cannot catch the wind with a net. Nothing will happen. So, I tell, you see, suppose you are a father. You means not you, in general sense I am telling. You are a father and you want your son to prosper. And so you come to a Vedanta class. I say, you are not a student fit for Vedanta. You are in a wrong place. Because for Vedanta, jignasus have to come, not fathers, mothers. In fact, I don't appreciate your going to the temple even for that reason. A bhakta should go to the temple, not a father, unhappy father. An enthusiastic, devotional bhakta should go to the temple, not an unhappy father. Temple is not going to remove your unhappiness. just by performing a ritual. You got it all wrong. You are deluded. You means not you in general. People are deluded. They don't want their delusion to be shaken. So the poor Swami has to validate all these delusions. It is not going to happen. So, therefore we live in a Father. I started that, I will complete that and conclude the class. Father. What do you mean by Father? Did you ever hear what Shankara said about Father? Kate Kanta, Kaste Putraha, Samsaroya Mativa Vichitraha. Shankara says, I am flabbergasted by these expressions and by these beliefs that I am the Father and he is the Son. Come on, what are you talking? How can that be? Because the young man, did he take your permission before he took birth? In your family, did he take your permission? No. Did you consult him and give birth to him? No. As far as we are concerned, it is an accident. Maybe there is a higher design. There is a design of the higher power. Why that particular jiva should take birth in this family? There may be some design of the higher power. But from our side, it is purely an accident. And now, don't get too much identified with that. Because the child is born in your family, you bring up the child and allow the child to grow and get educated and let the child go his way or its way. Like the birds do. Like that you do. You are not a father. You do what all needs to be done to take care of the child, but never forget the fact that you are not a father. You are Brahman. You are Atma. You are not a silly father. So, but people live in a delusion that I am the father. You see, you do what all has to be done by a father. You give all the love that a father is supposed to give, but never believe that you are a father. If you believe that you are a father, then why are you wasting your time in Vedanta? Vedanta says you are not a father. Naham pita, naham putra, name mata, name pita. Therefore, these are very basic delusions. There are some more delusions which I will discuss in the evening class. Om Purnamada, 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 Purnasya, Om Shanti Shanti.